Oh my gosh, how are we doing?
We are live. Hey guys.
Hey, what's up, boys? Go ahead.
Hey.
Hey guys, hey everyone.
Holy moly.
Thank
We got
Party
the-
in Barley soon.
We got the whole crew.
The Axion house is packed today.
And I don't know if you noticed, but while we were playing that video, I accidentally deleted the first two slides.
Oh,
I had to bring them back up. I'm like, oh, good, thank goodness for undo, man.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. How you doing, Big Bear?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Got Crypto Casino in the house. Got Fix. And Andy at the helm as well.
Hello.
And
Welcome,
soon
everybody.
Soon we'll need more space on that on that screen, man. Too many
What's
avatars. Soon we'll need more space on that screen. Too many avatars showing up.
Yeah, I think it just goes tiny. Kind of like this. Go tiny.
No, yeah.
We've been shrunk.
Hey, Dead Poet Daffy, can you share a link to this stream in the Telegram group for our honored guests?
Nice.
We have a couple of guests we're going to introduce. We'll just kind of welcome everybody. It's been a long time coming. What's that song? It's been a long time to go and a long time to get there. What am I trying to think of? I don't know.
Don't talk to me about songs, Metal, because I never been the Axion Friday quiz with Andy.
Journey.
Oh, Journey. Yeah, of course.
So we've got some awesome stuff to go over with you guys today. Incredible news, some clarification, and honestly, this is just the beginning. As we roll this out, we'll be putting together our knowledge base, our white paper, all that kind of stuff, just to kind of update everyone on some of these new big changes, additions. We are locked and loaded. I think the transaction will be pushed. If it hasn't been pushed already, it'll be pushed either during our broadcast or shortly thereafter. Deli is meticulously going through everything to make sure we are all set. But first, we'd like to bring in a couple of guests from ApeSwap. As you know, we recently partnered with ApeSwap for our liquidity. And I definitely want to give a huge shout out to both of these gentlemen for all of their help last week as our jungle farm had expired and it kind of caught us off guard. We were able to extend it, and they went out of their way to help us get that done in a very short period of time. And then as we went forward with that, we've been getting ready to launch our T-bills. And from what I understand, those are ready.
hey guys, thanks for having us. It's a pleasure to be here. I didn't realize my mic was muted there. Classic. But yeah, no, we're super excited. We've been chatting for quite a while now, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be working with you guys and your team. And yeah, we're really excited to get these T-bills off the ground. For those of you watching who might be somewhat unfamiliar of what the T-bills product is, or maybe you didn't have a chance to join in last time we were able to hang out together, but just a quick TLDR sort of the product itself. Essentially, this is going to be a way where Axion is going to be able to, through the use of their token and our smart contracts, sort of help build up their protocol-owned liquidity over time, which is going to help strengthen the price floor of the token. It's going to make for a better trading experience for anyone who's looking to buy or sell the token. And it's going to overall help with the long-term sustainability of the project itself. So we're really, really excited. It looks like Axion is going to be just the third project going through this program on the Polygon network. So we're super, super hyped. And the official go live date for the treasury bills is going to be December 2nd. You can see there on the screen there. We do have it listed in our official, launch calendar right there at the bottom of our homepage. So it is official. The Axion treasury bills will be going live December 2nd. And so the way that that's going to work is it's going to allow you guys as the users to actually acquire more of the Axion token at a discount in exchange for the LP tokens. And then what's going to happen to those discounted tokens that you're purchasing is they're going to get wrapped up and placed inside of a treasury bill NFT that you get to hold in your wallet. And you can access that NFT at any time and claim the tokens that you purchased over a 60-day period where they will be linearly vested. So it's a really great way for you guys to be able to actually increase the size of your Axion bag without really having to do anything, while at the same time actually helping Axion to build up their liquidity profile and the strength of their treasury. So really, really exciting stuff. And we're very, very happy that the Axion team is signed up to be, like I said, just the third project on Polygon. So sort of breaking new ground with us. So
and I would like to add that for anyone who's participating right now in the Jungle Farm, as the Jungle Farm expires, you'll be able to claim, you'll be able to harvest whatever rewards are left, and then you can actually take that LP over to the T-bill and then stake it in the T-bill. Am I correct in saying that?
Absolutely. No, that's a great call out. So really, really easy journey for you there. So typically, when a farm expires, as I'm sure most of you who are participating are aware, that means the rewards stop being given out. And so typically what you'll do as the user is you'll try and figure out, okay, how can I get more rewards for these LPs? Or if I can't, typically what we see happen, and the on-chain data proves this, typically the average user will unpair that LP. And that's not the user's fault. It makes sense, right? Because there's no more rewards to be had, at least not very many. So
unless you understand the purchasing rewards, but yeah.
Is the Axion
transaction? Sorry,
is the Axion that's linearly has linear vesting? Is that dripped or is it a claim process?
It's sort of dripped. So it's a claim process rather, I should say, but it's a linear claim. So
so is it daily or hourly or how does it work?
Every second more tokens become available.
Okay, I got you. Cool.
Yeah. So what's really, really cool is one of the partners that we're partnered up with over on the BNB chain side of things is actually the DApp Radar team. So for those of you who are familiar with the DApp Radar protocol, they do have their own token called Radar. It's their governance token. And I myself got involved with their bill sale because when I was showing one of our partners the other day the treasury bill page, I noticed that I was actually able to get the Radar token at a 15% discount. So I was pretty excited about that. And I figure, if I throw $500 into this at a 15% discount, that's going to yield me $590 worth of Radar tokens. So I'm literally increasing the size of my position by $90 worth of tokens for free, essentially. And at the same time, I'm helping the Radar protocol build up their liquidity on our DEX. So basically really a huge win-win.
And the function is similar to our Accelerator, where if you purchase in our Accelerator and you stake it for an extended period of time, through the Accelerator, we offer discounts as well. So for those who've participated in Axion over and over through the staking protocol, it's pretty much the exact same process. Only you're helping us build up the liquidity pool and adding the LP. And what I really like is the additional eyeballs that this is going to bring onto the project, because there'll be a good measure of people who this is kind of how they go about looking at projects and investing in projects. They find projects like this ApeSwap and primarily, of course, originally on the Binance chain, but now that we're able to do that here on Polygon, then we're going to have a whole new consort, if you will, of token holders that will be looking to learn more about the Axion ecosystem. Fair to say?
Yeah, exactly. And just to add on to that, we do have a couple of local whales within the ApeSwap ecosystem that they're so funny. They love the treasury bills. They've really grasped the concept and how they work, and they love getting involved with them. And so we have a couple of them who, basically any project that opens up a treasury bill sale, these whales, heavily do their research because they love the treasury bills. They love how they can increase the size of their holdings literally just by investing in this way, which in a bear market is very, very beneficial. And so one of them in particular, his name is David. I can see him already because Axion will be only the third project on Polygon, and one of the projects that did a T-bill sale, theirs has already sold out. So yours will be one of two that's live on the network. And I can already see David's going to be sending our devs DMs on Telegram saying, "Hey, when are you going to top up those Axiom bills? I've already bought them all." So,
Nice. Nice.
You're 100% spot on. There's a ton of apes who they are hungry for more bills, and every time we open up a new sale, the eyeballs are there. That is for sure.
And we're okay if it sells out because that means that we're going to add some significant strength to our liquidity. So,
exactly.
So, anything you want to add there, Ape Agent?
Well, I mean, from Tars is one of our most kind of eloquent team members, so it's hard to add on anything he said. But what I just kind of love about this idea that users add liquidity to the project is that they kind of benefit themselves, because since the project has then deeper liquidity, the users can create for themselves a more stable trading environment. And so in this whole thing, the incentives are just so clearly aligned. And I'm super stoked that we get this one done. From my side, I think this will be the first one of many. And yeah, I mean, like, everybody's invited to try out. It's dope. It works. It's the NFT is beautiful. So yeah, I'm super happy we got it done.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to that. We'll probably chat again here soon before Friday, and we'll for the community just be looking forward to an official announcement in Discord, and we'll probably be getting another Medium article out, just kind of explaining how to leverage and benefit from participating both in the Jungle Farm and in the new T-bill. So we'll be sure to articulate that and kind of show how that is going to benefit the ecosystem. Hey guys, again, thanks for really stepping up there to help us out last week. It was really nice to be able to have someone with a hands-on approach, and it's not something that you find everywhere you go. So it was very much appreciated. And it was at the very tail end of, I think, both of your days. So that was appreciated very much.
I can just kind of, give this compliment back. It's always a huge pleasure to work with you and your team. You're like super professional. And that's just how it should work. And we are super happy to extend that partnership.
Right on. And with that, we'll dismiss you because this might go really long. And I don't want you to feel like you have to hang in there, but feel free to watch. And I think Deadpool was able
for a call actually soon, but yeah, I will stay as
I think Deadpool was able to get the link over to you guys. So if you want to throw that up on Twitter, that would be awesome, and have everybody tune in. So you guys have an awesome week, and we'll be talking soon.
Amazing. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for stopping in, guys.
Hey, of course. Thanks for having us.
Thanks. Always.
Cheers.
Bye.
Okay, cheers. All right. Are we ready?
Oh, yeah.
Are we ready?
Let's get it done.
Okay, guys. So it's been a long journey to get here. And so we're going to be going over several aspects of this process that we've gone through, what each aspect entails, and what that means for you as a token holder in the ecosystem, and the future for Axion as a whole. So one of the things I wanted to kind of kick this off with is to kind of cover a little bit of what it means to be immutable, and what exactly is going to be immutable, and how is that going to affect the project as we move forward. Because if there's anything, and in fact, I think I forgot to put it on here. I'm going to go ahead and change this because locked and loaded is what we're calling this campaign. Locked and loaded, not feature complete. We're locked and loaded. So the path to get here has been a very educational one. There are several ways that you can set your contracts to be non-upgradable. And so as we went through this process, we had to learn a great deal about the various contracts that run Axion, and there are quite a few. There's actually quite a few contracts that run the overall ecosystem and engage in that process. So one of the first things we looked at is the ways that we could go immutable. And one of the original ways that we were looking to go immutable was to just simply change the admin to 0, and which some contracts have the luxury of doing. However, what we learned in this process is that for our contracts, because they all communicate with each other, they all interact with each other, that was not going to work because the core contract is a proxy contract. And so that left us scratching our heads for quite a bit. And then we looked at, let's back up a little bit, because the function of burning the keys, this is something that everybody hears all the time. And burning the keys in the literal sense was going to be a near impossible way for us to make the contracts upgradable. And the reason is the same admin keys that run the core contract also run the accelerator. They run the stake manager, the NFT deployer, the vesting engine, our new banker, which we'll be talking about, our new revenue manager, which we'll be talking about, and our asset manager. So if we were to take that very literal approach to setting the contracts as non-upgradable, then we would be tying our hands with all these other contracts. We would not be able to continue to grow in the way that we're looking to grow. Now that doesn't mean that you can't set your contracts to non-upgradable. We are actually going to do that. Is if it hasn't happened already, Deli's in the process right now of doing some last-minute checks, doing some last-minute reviews of all the data to make sure that there are 0 errors, that there's not going to be any problems, that the contracts can still communicate with each other, and the system as a whole can still continue to function. So that's when we looked at changing the admin to 0, which didn't work. And then renouncing ownership is very similar to burning the admin keys, which also wouldn't work, because if we were to renounce ownership, we would have to go through the entirety of every contract and almost from scratch rewrite those contracts so that they could continue to talk to each other. And so the fourth way we looked at is going back to changing admin. So changing admin, one of the typical ways of doing that is setting admin to 0. And that just makes it so you can never go in and upgrade it. But that doesn't work with a proxy. So we need to be able to change the admin to an owner that has no keys. And as an ecosystem now for, I don't know, for how long, almost from the very beginning, Axion has been sending funds to the dead wallet. The dead wallet has no admin keys. And should the dead wallet ever be hacked, I think Axion would be the last one on the picking list. But so what we're doing is we're changing the admin to the dead wallet, which in essence is changing the admin to 0. So that will make it impossible. Once we push that transaction and we set the owner to that Ethereum address, no one, except for maybe Vitalik, if he actually still owns those keys, which everything tells us that that's not the case. So we are able to change the admin to any Ethereum address we want, but we needed to change that address to an address that had no keys. So once we upgrade the core contract to that wallet address is the only wallet address that will ever be able to upgrade the core contract, making it basically immutable. So, and we are going to be looking at doing the same with the accelerator, the same with the revenue manager, the banker. All of these things will be made immutable. We're starting today with the core contract. We are still running some core tests with the accelerator. The accelerator, we have pushed all of the final updates, if you will, to the accelerator. There might be a couple of tweaks that have to be done prior to setting that contract non-upgradable. But in doing this, we're gonna do this in stages and steps. But the core contract is going to be the first contract. The accelerator will be the next contract that's set to non-upgradable. The banker, the revenue manager, staking contract, all of these contracts eventually will be set as non-upgradable. But it wouldn't be a good thing to try and do them all on the same day or at the same time. We need to make sure everything is dialed in the way we expect it to be. Did we have any questions come up for that specifically, Andy, while I was chatting and not looking at the other screen?
No, not for that particular question.
Okay. So with that, I'm going to go ahead. We already talked about what the new distribution is in the accelerator, but we're going to review that, and then we're going to bring in one last caveat that has not been announced yet when it comes to the accelerator. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn the next couple of slides over to McMarty.
Yes, thank you, James. Yeah, guys, like James said before, locked and loaded, not feature complete. I hope you guys understand that. Very important thing. You guys saw these slides metal covered during our last live stream, but it's important we go over them once again to make sure we are all on the same page. So yes, currently the buyback ratio is at 65%, but the new distribution sets it at 60%, so we're losing 5% here. This is where we bring back BTC divs. They were at 0% before. You guys know we paused the BTC rewards before in order to start off the OTC pool, which we did successfully. So now, thank you for your patience, guys. BTC rewards are back. So the allocation is 10% here. The OTC pool was set to 20%. It did great, really. So we're cutting it down by 50%. So we set it to 10% this time. So we're still building the OTC pool because we think it's a very important component of our ecosystem that will highly benefit the Axion ecosystem and whatever we will do in the future. So we are not getting rid of the OTC pool. Treasury was set to 0% before. We are allocating 10% ratio to it to basically restore and establish the treasury, which wasn't the case before. It's all about sustainability. It's all about making sure we have a healthy ecosystem, healthy financial ecosystem, and this is where the treasury comes in. About the foundation, it was set to 15% before. Of course, we'll lower that to 10%. I hope you guys appreciate that. It's all about making sure we keep the lights on as well. So the next one, it's just an example of a 2K buy in the accelerator. So if we put 2K in the accelerator, 1,200, which is around 66 million Axion, are just burned and removed from circulation. So this is a very important part of what we do here. Is we want to burn as much Axion as possible, right? BTC rewards. So out of this 2K buy in the accelerator, 200 will be used to buy BTC, drop BTC, and it will get distributed to our stakers. So depending on how many shares you own, you will receive BTC divs rewards. Sorry, middle rewards. Accordingly, he's gonna punish me afterwards if I say divs too much. So yes, BTC rewards will get distributed to our current stakers depending on how many shares you own. Now about the OTC pool. So 200 worth 200 will go into the OTCs. So depending on market conditions, we'll either use it to burn Axion, like the buyback and burn thing we're doing, or just to add liquidity depending on market conditions. This is where we keep it flexible here because depending on how the market is, how the liquidity is, we want to make sure we keep our ecosystem healthy. So this is where we have to make a decision here, and we'll keep you guys in the loop, whatever we decide. But we'll have Axion's best interest in mind for sure. Treasury funds, so 200 to the treasury funds we call it buyback and hold or build. This is because we'll either use it to add those to liquidity, launch incentives, develop partnerships, issue bonds, and more. So this is about building the Axion ecosystem to reach out to other project opportunities we may find. So it's about the future here. And the foundation, so 200 to the foundation, like I said before, to keep the lights on.
All right. Thank you, McMarty. And we have a few more slides that we'll expand on that just a little bit more. We need a drum roll. We have so there's one caveat related to the accelerator that we haven't announced yet, but we felt it was kind of critical in ensuring that all of these aspects of the ecosystem are sustainable and that we can eventually reach a point where we could be net deflationary. So in order to do that, we had a lot of conversations around how we could do that. And ultimately, here's where we landed. And with that, I am going to turn it over to my cohort, the none other dead poet, for that.
Hey, thanks, James. Appreciate that. Yeah, indeed. This was one of the discussions that we had, a couple of months back. And it was nice to also, together also join with us, a couple of our advisors as well. Big Bear was there during the call as well. And the idea here is that we wanted to ensure that, whatever changes that we make is something that is taken into consideration, things like, what kind of inflation are we going to be expecting? What kind of, circulating supply are we going to be expecting with these new changes? So with these, what we are going to be introducing is actually a max mid to the accelerator contract. So what does this mean? It means that the accelerator will continue to exist, will continue to play its role as being a feature within the Axion network, up to 150 billion worth of token that will ever be minted through the accelerator. And how we are doing this is basically we will be introducing a final add-on to the contract called the max min on contract, and this will be the final changes to the accelerator before we actually call it immutable. So as you can see on the text over there. So how does this impact the accelerator allocation, and what do we plan to do? The accelerator has always been something that it has been always been a bread and butter of Axion. When accelerator was introduced, the idea here is that we wanted to create an opportunity for users to actually get Axion over at a discount, but that itself also comes with certain setbacks and obviously things that we needed to actually mitigate. So one of the deals that we wanted to do was to see how we can actually control the parameters, and how we control this is by, first of all, increasing the daily allocation. So we'll be increasing the daily allocation from 375 million Axion to 575 million Axion, assuming that the accelerator sells out 100% every single day. It will take about 260 days, to hit the accelerator cap itself. So the idea here is, while the accelerator continues to actually serve its function, the team, together with feedback from the community and also the advisors, we will be using this time to actually also establish a couple more revenue streams. In fact, there has been a couple of proposals being set, being set to the team itself. The idea is that once we have those proposals ready, we'll actually be showcasing it to the community. So moving forward with the fact that we are setting a cap to the amount of token that can be minted through the accelerator, what does this mean in terms of impacting the inflation moving forward? With this news change, it means that 8% interest that you guys are getting from stakers will be the only inflationary mechanism moving forward. So right now, for what we have done is we have actually further controlled the amount of Axion that actually will be available in the market, and the only determining factor that actually causes this inflation is this 8% interest. And this is where there will be more deflationary measures being introduced into the ecosystem as we have more revenue streams moving forward as well. Just to add on as well, I guess some of the questions that users would be asking, with these 150 billion additional tokens, because the fact that we have a set hard cap of burn rate at about 60%, it actually means that 60% of the additional tokens will actually be added into the supply, and then the rest will actually be burned. So in all reality, it's not exactly 150 billion into the ecosystem itself. It's only 60 billion tokens that will be made available from the accelerator itself. So the next question is, how long would it take to sell out the accelerator? Again, the idea here is that if we are at 100% sold out every single day, about 260 days. If you are about 65%, it would take about 400 days.
Yeah. So what that also means is right now we're at about 343 billion. If we look at the stats, so this is in essence going to put a soft cap on our supply around just a little over 400 billion, whereas before with the accelerator basically functioning in perpetuity forever and ever, ultimately that cap would be huge. In fact, one of the things that we looked at as we were seeking to curb inflation and achieve a max supply, if you will, we looked really heavily at hard coding the max supply in the core contract, which I'm waiting for Delhi to tell me if he's done yet. But in doing that, the numbers were very hard to accurately determine. And the last thing that we wanted to do is in 15 years from now, if we had already exceeded our max supply, that maybe somebody with a 15-year stake would not be able to unstake that stake. So by doing it this way, we ensure that all stakes that have been made and all interest that has been established through the accelerator and the staking contract as well will always be able to meet that expectation, and it will, like Dead Poet said, it will fall upon us to create additional revenue streams and additional mechanisms to where we could buy back and burn Axion, which will become one of our primary goals and roles, if you will. So with that, so if we, so 100% change. So someone's asking, so if we sell out the accelerator in 260 days, does that mean the end of BTC2? It doesn't, because as we will explain later with our revenue manager and our future revenue, we will always have a mechanism for rewards. And again, that will be developed out further as we move forward, but we will be looking at ways to continue to provide those rewards for those who are staked. So that kind of that covers that. So it'll fall upon us to generate the revenue, to generate the buyback and burn, and to generate these things in the future. So,
and James, if I can just jump in for a quick sec, how you explained everything just now was perfect. The only thing I'd like to add to it is and one of the things that I was pushing for a lot when we had conversations was that the way that it's going to be done now, it allows everything to unfold and progress on a purely organic level, purely organic, the way that everything's going to progress from here. Whereas you were talking before about hard coding a supply cap into the contract, it did present possible future issues that we could run into with regards to people trying to unstake and the contract saying, well, we've already reached our max, sorry. So yeah, this is, for me, this seemed like the most logical path forward, because it lets the project continue organically. And I think for people that are looking at the ecosystem, deciding whether they want to become a participant or not, and for all of the existing users already part of Axion, we want to see the project continue forward organically as much as possible without any swift, big-handed, backhanded changes. So,
right, and it also and actually that question also kind of feeds into the narrative of why we are calling these rewards now. If we continue to call them divs in the traditional sense is a very set kind of a concrete locked-in expectation based on a financial portfolio, and like Big Bear just said, this will be a very organic process moving forward. So by moving away from calling them divs and by moving more towards calling these rewards, it opens the door for us to explore other ways to provide rewards for stakers. So it looks like, go ahead. You want to go ahead and continue there?
Yeah,
sorry, I forgot you were next. I was thinking.
Yeah, I think Destroyer is having some technical issues at this current moment. Yeah, so like what James is saying, we have actually rebranded the term divs to actually rewards itself. And the idea here is by doing this, it actually allows two things. One is the idea of dividends is something that is, it's guaranteed, whereas reward is something that is based on whatever that is actually being marketed at that point of time. And number two here, the idea that we remove the word BTC from the rewards, because perhaps in the future the secondary token could be something else. It may not just be BTC, it could be another token that we look into introducing as well. So this is where the branding of BTC div to rewards comes into play. Just to add on, this is where 10% of the whole accelerator distribution will actually go to rewards itself. And the idea here is, as long as the accelerator continues, we will be giving out BTC as a form of reward. And the idea here is that once it reaches end of life, there will be new revenue streams that would actually also be giving out rewards. But this would be through another contract, which is called the revenue deployer, which James will actually cover that right at the end of the slides as well. Do you mind moving on to the next slide, James?
Yeah, we're there.
Yeah. So the next one is about the OTC pool, or in terms of what we call liquidity pool itself. When we first introduced the OTC pool, the idea was that to create like an OTC platform where users can actually sell Axion off the market, and this will actually help to mitigate the sell pressure. By the same time, through for the past weeks and months, we realized that maybe at this current stage it might not be the best of use of that fund itself, and this is where we are proposing to be using those funds to purchase Axion off the open market directly, or even pair the USDC to our available Axion for liquidity purposes. So the idea here is that by increasing the liquidity pool, this also stabilizes the Axion pair as well, and cushion impact of all the trades that are being made as well.
So yes, about the breakdown, distribution breakdown of the treasury. This is where we set it to 10%, because it's all about what can we really make to be sure our ecosystem is sustainable. So for that, we have different routes. We can use, we can pair it with the OTC funds for liquidity, marketing campaigns, incentive programs, bonds, bond sales, etc. It's all about what are the routes we can find to make sure our ecosystem will still be here in 15 years and more. So ultimately, this would replenish our Axion reserve for future use. So this is a good example. This would add 15 billion Axion tokens to our treasury over the remaining life of the accelerator. This is big, 15 billion, guys. This shows you, like, if we get to that point, and we will, those funds will be used to make sure Axion is stable and ready to go for the years to come. Now about the next one, please, James.
Yep.
Now about the foundation, like I was saying before, 15% was allocated to the foundation. We lower it to 10%. It's all about also building confidence, guys, to attract more users, and to also show to you guys our current investors, you guys that have been here from the beginning and asking questions and making sure we are on track, we keep delivering, guys. It's important we show you that we care, and of course lowering that allocation down, I think, is also it showcases that we care, and it's not all about the money. It's about making sure this ecosystem thrives, So yes, we took that route. We are proud of it. We want you guys to know and understand that we are here for the long term. We don't make bold moves like that, and 5%, of course, is huge, right? When you're talking about selling out the accelerator, which is our main goal here, we are pretty happy about this move, and we hope you can see that, guys. And of course, the team will be exploring new revenue models throughout through the revenue manager contracts, which will also have an allocation set for the foundation. So this is, of course, a discussion for later, but as of now, 10% for the foundation. This is the number we chose.
Thank you, everybody, for kind of helping us get up to that point. I had a thought, and then I'm looking over here, listening to something Deli saying, and I kind of got distracted. I apologize. But so moving forward, one of our biggest goals is going to make sure that the ecosystem as we're defining the ecosystem and as we are implementing these things, that should any of the current core team step down or need to be replaced, or should we grow the ecosystem, what we don't want is, moving forward, we don't want anything or anyone to ever come in and try to change things again. We want everybody to have this confidence that what they are buying is what they're getting, and it's what they will have in the future. That all of these things that we have gone through over the last good year or so has really been an extremely valuable learning experience. Even our sales tax was a tremendous learning curve for us. There were a lot of great reasons why we wanted to have that in place, and we even continued to look at bringing that back through this process. But ultimately, it really introduced a lot more obstacles than it did provide opportunities. And that really was the key factor. And that's been the key factor in all of these different little changes, even when it comes to the distribution and the accelerator. It seems like a simple way of looking at it, a simple number, but it actually took a lot of discussion and conversation to reach that point. And ultimately, the decision fell on the side of not wanting to appear as though we valued one aspect of our ecosystem as being greater or more important than another aspect of our ecosystem. So by taking our distribution and doing that evenly across those different aspects, makes it possible for us to center our decisions on those rules, that set of rules that we've put in our place. So with that, we are introducing and have already launched what we call the banker. It's a banker contract. A banker contract receives funds from the accelerator, and it holds them on deposit, just like a bank would. And once we are confident that it's working the way we expect and intend it too will become an immutable aspect of the ecosystem. And what you see here won't change. All we will be looking at is making sure that as an immutable contract, it will not have any problems as our token price increases, as our volume increases, as all of these, all of this weight kind of bears down on the ecosystem, that it will continue to operate as intended. So with our current distribution, we have the 60% buyback and burn, 10% go to the rewards, and then 30% goes to the banker contract. And that is 10% for the OTC, 10% for the foundation, and 10% for the treasury. So those funds sit there, and those funds used to go to just directly to the treasury, and it was up to the core team to decide how to use those funds. By sending these funds to very specific wallets that have very specific expectations and a specific set of rules, it ties us to honor and to function according to those rules. So once those funds are in the banker, and I'll explain this a little bit more. So we wanted this to happen directly through the accelerator, but historically, in the way that the accelerator was written, it has three core functions, if you will. One being the buyback and burn. The second one was distribution, which is how the contract is able to provide the Bitcoin rewards. And then there was the receiver, which traditionally has always been just simply the foundation wallet. And it's that receiver that has now been changed to a banker. And that banker can only be accessed with one type of a transaction. And that transaction tells the banker to divvy up those funds in the account. And we can do this daily, we can do it weekly, we can do it monthly. But it does take a manual transaction so that those funds are locked in that account until we initiate that transaction that sends those funds to each individual wallet. And these are all mechanics and mechanisms that will be reported on the blockchain, that we will report through the transparent accounting thread. So, and those that are savvy enough will be able to see where the funds are coming from the accelerator to the banker, from the banker to the three separate wallets, and then from those three separate wallets, we will use those funds as intended for the OTC, for the treasury, and for the foundation. So that basically kind of sums up what the banker is going to do. And then we have two more contracts that have not been set yet, but we are in the process of developing and putting these in place. One of them will be the revenue manager, which will work similar to the banker. And the revenue manager will take all future revenue that the team generates will go into this one contract. And from there, we will be able to break that down, and we'll have 50%. And now I've had a couple people raise their eyebrows at this 50% to foundation. I'll kind of double back, but 20% will go to buyback and burn Axion. 10% will go to our rewards program. 10% will go to liquidity. And then the OTC liquidity, and then 10% will go back to the buyback and hold bond treasury, as Mick Marty and both Dead Poet have kind of covered. So with future revenue, we're looking at not only sustaining the entire ecosystem, but we're looking at sustaining the ability for us to continue to grow, not only as a team, but as a project, where we can look at other aspects and invest in other aspects that will continue to bring in additional revenue. There's this big misnomer that foundation funds are only for paying the devs and only for paying the team, and that's not entirely true. Foundation funds are used to grow and expand the ecosystem as a whole. And so while there'll be a set portion of those revenues that will be intended for very specific use cases, and they will always be required to engage in those use cases. So we will always be able to contribute to liquidity. We will always be able to provide a reward. We will always be able to build out the treasury and to build out partnerships and so forth. And this is where locked and loaded is so critical. And the idea that we are not feature complete. We never intend to be feature complete. As long as there are intelligent, capable members of our community who are always excited and willing to step up and to bring great ideas to the team and even participate on the team. The Axion ecosystem will continue to grow and develop moving forward. And that kind of leads us to the last aspect of this locked and loaded process, where we'll be looking at introducing what's called the asset manager. And the asset manager will be a very simple contract. It will allow us to take the Galaxy stakes to when we mint our stakes as Galaxy stake NFT. It'll allow us to move our NFTs between owned wallets. So we'll sign for the sender and the receiver. And as long as you can do that, then you can move those without any penalties, any costs, any fees, or anything like that. And that contract will also whitelist third-party providers should we, in the future, build a relationship with someone who is willing to allow us to use our stakes as an asset. So there's a lot more that we can talk about in the future, what that means. But for anybody that holds assets that are not liquidatable in the traditional and TradFi and traditional finance, there's always a way that you can leverage that asset to accomplish goals, start businesses, buy homes, whatever. So hopefully in the future, we'll be able to look at where someone has a 15-year stake, and if Axion has the price is appreciated to the point where that stake is now extremely valuable, then that asset will be able to be accessed without having to withdraw it early, take penalties, or sell it, even though selling it will still be an option on OpenSea. So that kind of sums up locked and loaded. I haven't heard from Deli yet, but
Bill, if we can, Axion token, aka Superman, is in the green room, waiting to come in as well.
Got him in.
Ah, he's in. Here we go.
Everybody.
Hey, Superman. Hey,
good to see everybody. Beautiful presentation in the middle.
Welcome. Nice.
So I guess we can open it up to some questions.
There's a question there from natsarim.u. Will the statistics for Max Mint be added to the website for all to see and track?
Yes, they will. I've already been in conversations with some guy to get that on our some guy on our UI. That's kind of funny. Yeah, I've already talked to some guy to get it on our UI. So yeah, we will be displaying that. In fact, you know what? I had wanted to show you can actually look at these things if you know how to read contracts and look at contracts. These are actually things that you can look at and read directly on the blockchain. So yes, that metric will be able to be reported, and we'll be able to see. And now I remember something I wanted to say earlier too. We'll be able to see that happen in real time. And in all honesty, one of the reasons why we looked at, at least showing what would happen if the accelerator sold out every day at 100%. Yeah, it would be less than a year for the accelerator, and the accelerator would reach its end of life. However, on average, we are anywhere from 40 to 60% daily being sold out. Now, what would be my preference? What would be my preference? To sell out the accelerator 100% every day, or to sell it out at 40 to 60% every day? If we sold it out 40 to 60% every day, the accelerator could last another good year or longer, maybe even close to 2 years. So my preference, to be honest with you, is to see the accelerator sell out as high as it can on a daily basis. Because once we reach that end of life, once we'll be able to define and have a more definitive 30,000 foot view of where the Axion supply is going, where it's at, where it's headed. and we will be able to even better curb that inflation and focus more on deflationary measures. So if you have any comments or questions, jump in.
I just wanted to add on to that as well. I think one of the reasons why I wanted to do that was that so that we can really start focusing on the other aspects of the 5-year roadmap that we've planned out as well. You know, I mean, the idea here is once all this locked and loaded, we can start focusing on other aspects of the revenue streams.
Living Like Mike has got a question. I think this is his second question. Actually, his first one is to do with the accelerator, because he never get in the collider, isn't it, Mike? Yeah, he never gets a hit with the collider. So that's hard coded, Mike. That's hard coded so that you can't. But no, his second question is, now that all contracts will be immutable, if you decide to add a new feature later that requires another contract, will it be able to communicate with the other contracts?
So here's where the beauty, and I think the brilliance of Axion when it was originally written, and why we didn't want to go in and completely obliterate a lot of the way that the contracts were written, just so we could make them immutable a specific way. When Axion today was created, and when they developed the core contract, they ensured that the core contract, kind of like a radio station, is broadcasting a very, very large library of information. And so it's the information that's being broadcast out of the core contract that any future contracts basically would interact with. It's why we are able to mint NFTs through the stake. With we've got the stake manager, and then we've got the NFT deployer, and both of those communicate together with the core contract to actually mint the NFTs and to make that possible. So the answer to that question is, in almost all likelihood, yes, because those contracts would have functions that would react to the messages coming from the core contract. No one will be able to write a contract to tell the core contract to do X, Y, and Z outside of those contracts that are part of our ecosystem at this time. So, but the information coming from that core contract, and it was really as they were developing Axion today and all of those metrics, so that we could watch the contract in real time like no other. That's really what has made it possible for us to continue to build on top of, to build around, and to really expand the ecosystem. And there's other projects that could do that as well. If they wanted to have their own mechanism for creating NFTs, or if they wanted to provide a way for us to stake our Axion outside of the Axion ecosystem and receive rewards, it could still communicate and receive that information from the core contract. So yeah, that is the short and long answer, I guess.
Yeah, great question there, Mike. Any other questions from you guys? I'm sure there should be plenty out there. So if you could just post them.
One of the things that's also critical in this process is all contracts and wallets that manage funds are in multi-sig Gnosis safes. So and as we go through this with the revenue manager, with the banker, with all these different contracts and aspects of the ecosystem, those will be held within a multi-sig. even for those aspects of the ecosystem that may not be upgradable, or that might be upgradable. And why would we want to keep the NFT deployer upgradable? Well, every time we add a new NFT to the system, we need to be able to mint that NFT. And this is really why, at the heart of it, if we were to go that hardcore traditional burning of the admin keys, then we wouldn't have some of these luxuries. So this way, as we make each contract immutable, and we decide, okay, this is what this contract will do, this is how it will function in perpetuity, and we're not going to change it, we can go in and we can make that possible.
The next question is from CryptoJack. Will there be a metaverse project in Axion? Will Axion be compliant? I think he means there with ISO 222. Looking forward to what's to come. Great job, team. #Immutable.
Anyone?
DP, perhaps you want to pick up on that one?
Yeah, it's interesting that everyone is talking about metaverse. Well, I think not entirely into being mentioned in our timeline. Whatever that is being shared early this year, metaverse project is not something that we have. There is something with the Axion Studios. That's still something that we're still working on. But not entirely for metaverse projects. Regarding compliance to ISO 20022, that's actually quite interesting as well. I mean, this is something that we have not looked into it. Probably something that we can look into it as well. I mean, this is definitely something that will have to be discussed.
And about the ISO 20022 tokens, if you look into it, guys, I'm sure you guys know that very, 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 very few tokens and projects are actually ISO 20022 tokens. The ones that I remember are XRP, XLM. We have, I think, HBAR. We have also IOTA and Quant, right? These are the ones. I might be forgetting one. Algorand as well, I think. So these are the only ones that are ISO 20022 tokens, and I don't think many more will be. So we can, of course, look into it, but there's tens of thousands of projects out there, and these projects are highly connected to banks, institutions, governments. They are a next level type of thing. So yes, we can definitely look into it and see how we can get there. But it's a different level. We can maybe play at a later stage, but right now it's about sustainability. It's about making sure the project will be there in 15 years. The ISO 20022 compliance is a different type of deal, guys. We cannot really respond to that question more than that.
Yeah, thank you.
And then also to add on to that, it reminds me of another question that was asked a while back, and that is, in doing this, does that mean that we can't go cross-chain? And the answer is no. This does not prevent us from eventually someday looking at the token going cross-chain. Staking will always be on the Polygon network, but in doing this, it doesn't prevent us, like what McMarty was saying, it doesn't prevent us from looking at just about any option out there that might come our way. And we'll be able to, if it makes sense to go on the metaverse at some point, you have the Axion Hangout room where we watch movies or something. I'm still wrapping my brain around that, but
we have another question there from Free Willy. It's already been answered, but in case anybody's missed it, do you just want to go over that again, James?
When we expect all contracts to be immutable?
Mm-hmm.
So there's only a finite number of the contracts that will be basically made immutable. That is core contract, the accelerator. Once we've made sure that there is not going to be any errors with price fluctuations and so forth, the revenue manager, the banker, and then eventually even the staking contract itself. And to put a timeline on the entirety will be difficult, but in all honesty, the most critical aspect, the most critical contracts in this entire conversation are going to be the core contract, the accelerator, the banker, the revenue manager. Those are going to be the contracts that are completely made immutable to start. So the rest, because they require an upgradable, they require the ability to upgrade them to function, but they are an interactive contract. They are not a defining contract. They don't tell the contract to change. They don't update the contract. Then basically what makes the core of the ecosystem is immutable.
Yeah. Let's just go another question here. Will you reintroduce the ability to buy Axion with other tokens such as Matic?
I don't anticipate that. And that's where being on Polygon is really being on that. That's where it is most beneficial. And it will actually help in the banker process as well. All that really did is just added layers of management, because as each of those separate tokens come in through the accelerator, they have to be managed individually. So at this point, when we go into the banker, all we have to do is interact with all we're managing is the USDC. We don't have to worry about managing Matic. We don't have to worry about Matic price going up or going down. We don't have to worry about, and that's really kind of what it boils down to is the value coming in remains the value that came in. Yeah. Whereas with Matic, if someone uses Matic and then tomorrow it drops 30%, the ecosystem as a whole loses that 30%. Same thing with ETH and everything else. So, and that's why we went to a USDC pair too, is so that as the market fluctuates, it doesn't affect us in a negative way.
Yeah, it creates much more price stability.
And thanks, Big Bear, and thanks, Metal. And just then to say that this as well, going immutable, doesn't spoil our aspirations for having a facility to basically onboard people directly from our own website or anything.
Correct. I was just looking at a couple of new ones today.
So that's still being worked on. What is this is a comment or a question? With lock maturity and guaranteed percentage plus BTC rewards, hopefully they'll sell like hotcakes on future crypto bond markets. Yes, thank you, Johnny. And Big Bear, if I could just ask you a question, since you've been involved in some of these things over the last few months, what actually excites you about the direction Axion is going in right now?
Well, I mean, for me, it's about the project creating the stability that it needs in order to create more user confidence, more confidence in people that have eyeballs on us. I think we're very fortunate to be plugged into the Polygon Matic ecosystem because of the type of project that we are pretty much one of the best and only ones over there. And the partnership with ApeSwap and being, like they were saying, the third project to come online with the T-bill. There's a lot of first mover advantage available to us over on Matic. And I think with us going to non-upgradable contracts, and like starting with the core and the accelerator, and then the banker and staking eventually, as we do all that, we become a much more palatable project for other projects to want to affiliate with us or align with us or do some sort of partnership with us, because they see that a lot of work has gone into it. They see that we've now taken steps, or I say we loosely, I mean you guys have taken the steps to ensure that things like the core contract, et cetera, are set so that they can no longer be augmented or changed.
Yeah.
But because we still have the ability to build on top of them and have other fresh, if you want to say fresh contracts, communicate with them just for the purposes of getting data points out of there. I just think it creates a lot of opportunity for Axion down the road. I mean, we're 2 years in. We had a rough first launch. We recovered. The community rallied. We had a bit of we stood on some shaky ground through 2021 with some of the the way that some of the tokenomics were being done, and we eventually figured out that it wasn't working. And the fact that now the team that's in place really like all you guys really get what's gone on in the past, what's currently going on, and what needs to go on in the future to make sure that this project is sustainable. And I bought into the vision of Axion before it was Axion, and I'm still here. And there's a lot of OGs that are still here, and it's going to take a community effort to push us over the summit of the mountain. But collectively, I believe that we all can do it. And like I said before, we're really going to start to garner some of the attention of other projects that want to launch with us, because we have proof of diamond hands. We have that. We have an unbelievably high staking stats for how much is locked up. So yeah, I just feel extremely positive about where we're headed from here, for sure.
And thank you. And I just want to follow up on that question. Really, it's common knowledge you're a big investor in Axion. And what does it mean for other big investors to see a project that is going in this direction, making our core contracts immutable? What does that mean for a big investor?
Well, it means that after they've done all of their due diligence, it means that whatever sort of financial, whatever sort of money they've put into the ecosystem to become a participant and a token holder, it means that they can do that with the security of knowing that the ecosystem's not going to be changed at its core levels moving forward. And that's a huge thing. When contracts are left upgradable, there's always that little, that fear in the back of your head that like, okay, well, I've been part of the project now for a year and things are going okay, but what if they change this, or what if they change that?
Yeah.
And thankfully, I along with a lot of other OGs, we pressed the previous core team to go immutable or non-upgradable a long time ago. And I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, and I'm just glad that didn't happen at that point.
Yeah.
We needed to iron some things out. There's some things needed to be looked at. Some math needed to be done. Some tokenomics needed to be looked at. And over the course of the past year, that's all gotten done, and we're here now at this point, at this juncture in the project. And I'm just, like I said before, I'm really excited about where we're going now.
Thank you, Big Bear. Thanks for your comments there from the whale perspective as well. And we've got Superman in the house. So Superman, put your mic on a moment.
Hello. Good to see everybody.
Superman, this is the legend that is Superman. Superman, tell us what's exciting you at the moment.
Just everything the team and the community is doing. I mean, the community is being more engaged I think at the end of most of the lives, well, at least the recorded videos I've been doing lately, I've been encouraging the community to get engaged because it's so exciting what's happening now with this immutable contracts phase of Axion. So that's been super good, and I really like seeing people's comments and just the number of people that have really started to get engaged and come back from a long time ago. So obviously on my YouTube channel, a lot of the early people were from the OG days, and so I would, quite a few. And it's nice seeing some of those names just pop in and say, hey, I had staked Axion, what's going on? I just see a few things that here and there that's happening. And of course, it's exciting to see them back in the chat and stuff like that. So it's been really cool. The other thing is that it's been a bit more engaged on the YouTube channel, so getting more comments on the YouTube channel, on Axion Token channel, and probably most importantly, in my view, is the teams just coming out with great innovations and just keep pushing forward. I really love to see it. So that's kind of some of the highlights for me at the moment.
Yeah, excellent. And in terms of the direction, obviously you're appreciating the direction and things. And are you getting any sort of comments on your videos that are kind of as well speaking of the new direction? And are you getting a sense from investors that Axion's going in the right direction now?
Yeah, I think the return of the BTC rewards has been well received. And I think people are pragmatic about the level of those rewards, and particularly in the bear market here. So yeah, I think that's been pretty well received. A lot of people are happy about that, especially after a lot of people in the early days staking for the BTC rewards, as well as obviously the Axion inflation as well. So yeah, I think that's been pretty good.
Excellent. Have we got any more questions out there? Let's have a look. All right, here we go. What's this one? Are you likely to advertise upcoming reward changes? As you touched on, buying in certain assets, added strategy complexities. Reward changes also affect a staker's portfolio strategy. 15-year staker. Well, thanks for being a 15-year staker, Ernst. And yeah, all the information will be provided on our various outlets and so forth. So that's okay. That's a nice, easy one I could deal with. Any other questions?
Something I'd like to touch on that James alluded to earlier is he talked about the ability of once we really get the legs under the project and all the immutability has been taken care of and we're moving forward, that the fact that we can now convert our stakes into an NFT. And I know for a fact that there is the ability to take an NFT that it's basically it's an asset that's inside of an NFT now. There are projects that you can plug into where you can put your NFT, your stake NFT up as collateral for a loan. So you can actually access money in real time based on an asset that is locked up for, say 13 more years now. But the utility that gives people, like it's huge. It is really huge. And I mean, I speak from experience because I've done it with other projects in the past where I've had an NFT that had tangible assets locked up inside of it, basically liquidity pool tokens. And I was able to go and collateralize that to take out loans, and they varied. Some were short term, like 10, 15 days or 30 days or 60 days or whatever. You would agree to, it was all peer to peer. You agree to basically a loan rate, how much the lender would tell you how much they wanted, and you could either accept it or deny it. And then you got access to those funds, and then as long as you repaid the loan back in the time that was necessary, you got your NFT back and the assets that were locked up inside of it. So the utility function of that alone, I'm super, super bullish about that, because I think that just offers, especially for those of us who have staked long for 15 years, the utility that opens up for us moving forward as crypto continues to mature, and as we come out of this bear market and we get into the next bull cycle.
And I mean, this is something that we've talked about before, actually, the possibility of what you've just said. But you probably might know more than we do on that. In terms of any legislation or any compliance issues then for providing loans, is there like extra amounts of red tape or hoops that we would have to jump through to provide that sort of offering?
That I don't know, because it wouldn't be if we did that, it would not be a native part of Axion. It would be a project that you could align with, or become have a partnership with. So you would be utilizing somebody else's UI, UX, code base, all that kind of stuff. So obviously there's a fair amount of due diligence that needs to happen from the core team perspective to make sure that any alignments or partnerships that are done with projects that could provide that access to the utility that I was just talking about, we'd obviously have to make sure that they were a secure project, that their code was also safe, locked up, immutable, so on and so forth. So
yeah, but it would be an incredible offering if we could provide such a thing. James, did you just want to come in on that as well?
Yeah, the only thing I was gonna, and Big Bear picked up on that. I can't see us as a protocol ever being a lender, so to say. That would be through a third party, because to really be able to do that, and whether that's a someone with assets to loan, or whether they're facilitating lenders and I know in the U.S. there have been a couple of attempts to have private parties extend loans, and they did really well until the SEC, until regulation stepped in and said you can't do that. So being the provider of that, I don't think would be where we would want to head. But like with what Big Bear was saying, aligning with a third party that maybe has assets that is a legitimate project and has a legitimate track record, so forth and so on.
Well, yeah, I mean, most of it, like I'm referring more to like a platform / project that provides the ability for this user and this user to interact directly with each other to facilitate a loan and a borrow. So that you're not interacting with an entity that's providing like a corporate structure or an entity or a treasury. Let's just use that word, a treasury that you're accessing funds from based on providing your NFT as collateral. No, you're literally, what I'm talking about is P2P transactions. So it's you and it's two sovereign parties connecting through a platform to facilitate a loan.
Yeah. And most likely, if you're in the US, you'd have to light up a VPN to do it.
Probably.
So I did want to kind of hop in here a little bit. I'm going to have to dig into, tracing this and just kind of being able to show. I did want to show that the change proxy admin transaction has gone through. And it was as of 11 minutes now. The first one that shows up here was a test that was done with a separate contract to make sure that it would work. So the Axion core contract cannot be upgraded any longer.
Wow.
It's done.
There you go. Well,
where's
guys,
the fireworks?
Well,
congrats, guys.
Yeah, we're going to stay on for 24 hours now, aren't we? Yeah.
Time for a round robin.
Well, it's coming up to, or it is an hour and a half actually. So
yeah, if
you've got questions, guys, last 2 minutes, and then I think we'll shut this down. Alternatively, then, if you want to post on Discord or something, if you think of something a bit later. So unless anything comes up, I think we're ready to shut down.
Yeah, guys, for everybody that's been able to connect, everybody that's here still watching this live stream, I'm going to do that one thing that I fail to do all the time, and that is please do us a huge favor. And when this is done, start sharing your thoughts and feelings about this. We need to get this out on Twitter. We need to start talking about this in Hangouts that we're in. We need to start when you see a new post on Medium, like, share, tweet. When Crypto Casino or Superman get one of their videos up, and I'm speaking for myself. We all could do a lot better to take some time to go over and see what's being put out and comment, share it, and we need to from here on out. It's all about the community and how much the community gets excited about this. And I will put out an official announcement later this afternoon. I'll probably have a Medium article out tonight, tomorrow morning. My brain is toast right now with my day job, and we're in print week. My publisher's been pinging me this whole time, wondering where did I go. So I told him I'd be unavailable, but yeah. So yeah, be sure to comment, to share, to like, to tweet, all those things. Comments and questions in the thread are awesome, but we need them below. We need folks to be viewing these in their entirety.
Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining us. Metal, do you want to play us out?
You bet. You guys, everybody, have an awesome week. Look for more information coming out, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome,
Cheers.
guys. Congrats, everyone.
Later.
Thank you.